Hey guys, as promised, here's me back with the contents of the box put together so you can get a better look at it. Now, a few things I want to say first before we look at the models. It says quite clearly on the instructions, these need to go together with super glue. They look like plastics, but they will not glue with plastic glue. You must use super glue or cyanoacrylate to put them together. It states that quite clearly in the instructions just to make a point of it so you're aware of it. Also, these are made of a different type of material than I'm used to dealing with. They don't behave quite like plastic or resin. They tend to shred very heavily if you put a file near them. So when you're doing mould lines, or take a blade to remove the mould lines, a file will take and shred the material quite heftily and leave a very rough, not very pretty surface texture on it. So if this is for a wee one, a youngster, you as an adult would be better doing the mould lines. If you are a child who's wanting to do this, get an adult to do the mould lines on this one. It's a very hard, tough substance, which will make the pieces extremely durable, but the mould lines are quite difficult to remove. You will need to also take your time with the blade because the blade can dig in slightly, but certainly a blade would appear to be the best way of removing those mould lines. So after that, guys, let's start having a look at these miniatures, because that's what we're all about here at the moment. So these guys are spawning points and would appear to be objective markers for the game. One's here, there's 4 of this type and 1 of this type. This type would appear to be a skull on top of a piece of rock. And the one here would appear to be eggs and a skull with some crystalline structures. Some weird creatures, a bit alien-esque creatures crawling up the side of the crystals here. So that's those. As you can see, they've been prepped and the gaps filled with green stuff. So these little fellas here, there's 6 of these guys. They have their nice little hat on and their wee shield there, with a nice little oriental sword on that side. Remind me a little of the Gurkhas, these guys. In other words, I don't want to meet them in a dark alley. So our next guys here are our little spearmen. What I will add at this point is that they were pretty easy to put together. They had lovely big huge tabs that fit into place, so there's no doubt as to where you're putting things, and they're L-shaped tabs, a lot of them, so there's no mistake on which way round things go. But nice little guy here with his spear. These are all kobolds, in line with the game structure. This would appear to be our heaviest infantryman, as it were. There's 4 of these little guys, and they've got a terribly nice dragon skull on their shield, and some rather heavy plating on them, very armadillo-like when they're plating on the back. And we also have 4 of these guys who appear to be little rock throwers. They have their little slingshot there, and on the other side, just under there, they've a little bag of rocks. And we have here 2 what would appear to be caster types, sort of mages, little kobold mage types. The detail on them is beautiful, with their robe at the back, which looks almost like a bearded dragon fronds at the back of their neck. So very pretty with their little staff there. We have 2 extremely looking little grumpy guys here with quite hefty, strength looking beaks on them. You wouldn't want a nip from one of those. And these appear to be a pair of youngsters in each of these. There's two of these as well. See around the back of those. And we have also two little small ones here who are winged and very pretty looking. Certainly the structure and pattern on these is very, very beautiful and sort of very manga style. One thing I will raise is you will find when you're putting them together, I'll use this to show you, is there are some, I filled this one with green stuff, but there are some very interesting choice of places to have their injection points for their moulds on. It does make for an interesting clean-up session, have an injection point on the nose of a creature. Or, give me a second to find this one here. It's on one of the rock throwers. There you see the injection point there right in the centre of his back, between some very delicate little horny pieces. So there are one or two wee issues putting it together. As I say, you will be green stuffing gaps, you will be taking off some reasonably heavy mould lines on some pieces, but without a doubt they are extremely beautiful miniatures. But I shall be back in a moment with some more pieces, primarily the larger pieces of the kobold race. Right, I've got a small guy in here to give you a bit of a scale representation. These are the kobold ogres. And these are big dudes, as you can see. They're kind of hefty looking. A few different wee points there. Just give you see around them there. Like you see there, for example, on the injection points, there's one there. And we have another one here on his side. Like you see for his tail, there we go. As I say, it's not so much the mould lines, they are reasonably easy, most of them, although some of them seem to be cast from 3-part moulds. It's not the lines themselves that are the issue, it's the hardness of the material, so do be careful not to slip and cut yourself, because it would be more of a sense of dragging the blade over the surface to remove those lines. But it is a very, very tough material that these are made of. See, he's got a cracking big club there. So you get two of those in the pack. And very big hands here that come as a wee separate piece, just a wee gap there that needed filled. And again, where some of them fit on the waistline there, for example, there's a good piece of green stuffing going on there, and where the tail joins in. But let's say the pieces dry fit together absolutely beautifully, so it's very easy to put them together first of all to find out where they go. And we also have these here, which appear to be enchanted treasure chests. I haven't glued those together to give you an idea, and you can see, for example, the size and shape of the interlocking tabs there that they go together with. But generally the pieces in this are fitting together beautifully. So you get two of those as well. Take those off here, and like you see this is the last piece from the kobold race. And this is a very nice big dragon, and he would appear to be the boss of the situation, the game boss. That's what he's referred to on the box detailing. And as you can see, he's extremely orientally styled, very much in the vein of the sort of anime cartoons such as Pokemon and the likes, and Yu-Gi-Oh and those sorts of things. But certainly there's some stunning pieces in this set. This portion here was a little bit difficult, and it was the same with some of the other little pieces. Some of the pieces were slightly bent, Like resin, if you heat them in some boiling water, they will soften to allow you alter their shapes, and where the pieces need a little stretch because they've shrunk when they've come out the mould slightly, allow you to put that stretch on them before to allow you get the pieces to meet. This was one of the most fiddly pieces that in the kit, because you're trying to put the legs on, the rock piece on and the base all at the same time, trying to get them to match up, and it certainly was a very interesting session, but that it went together fine, like, you know, with a bit of work, a bit of pressure, and a bit of making sure things were in the right places. So to allow those extra moves and reshaping things, plunge into boiling water, reshape and put in some cool water just to harden it off again before attaching it. So that's him, that's us with the Kobold race, and I shall be back in a moment with some heroes for you.